Okay, welcome to High Cheese with Darren Maloney, the Trump and Trucker edition. Let's go right to a montage I put together from Saturday's rally with Trump in Conroe, Texas. And I think you'll enjoy it. It's about 5 minutes, and let's go to it. And when we come back, we'll talk about it.
What Joe Biden and the Pelosi Schumer Congress have done to our country in just 1 year is a travesty of the highest order. Inflation is skyrocketing, gas prices are soaring, supply chains are crumbling. Can you believe what's happening? You can't get anything. The shelves are empty. Murders are surging, illegal aliens are pouring in by the millions and millions. China is threatening Taiwan, Iran is on the cusp of a nuclear bomb, Russia may take over Ukraine. I was just informed by a wonderful local politician, this is the biggest crowd of its kind. North Korea is testing at a level like never before. The way they withdrew from Afghanistan was catastrophic and image-changing for the United States of America. Image-changing. That did so much to hurt our country. That was a moment that was so embarrassing and so horrible. And Joe Biden's weakness and incompetence is creating a very real risk of World War III. Look at what's going on. This would have never happened with us. If you care about your future, your family, and your country, then you have no choice. This November, you have to throw these raving lunatics the hell out of power and elect strong, smart, tough Republicans who will restore your borders, protect your safety, defend your jobs, and put America first. With Biden and the radical left, it's always America last, and that's what they do. You look at these horrible deals they make throughout the world, it's always America last. But the most important border in the world right now for us is not Ukraine's border, it's America's border, and we do nothing about it but let people come in and we have no idea who they are. The first duty of the American president is to defend the American border. And I was proud to be the first president in decades who did not get the United States into any new wars. I took us out of endless and ridiculous wars. Political establishments like this should not be allowed to continue. They send young Americans to fight and die for the borders of distant foreign nations while we fight for other borders, but we don't fight for our own. They torture your children with masks in school while they host parties packed with unmasked donors in New York, San Francisco, and Washington, D.C. They restrict your freedom and lock you in your home while they abolish cash bail and release thousands of really dangerous murderers. They drive up the price of your energy for your family while they are shuttled around in limos and airplanes on American taxpayer dollars. They censor, cancel, and persecute ordinary citizens for speaking the truth. And the outrageous civil and criminal harassment in New York and Atlanta of a person known as Donald Trump. Have you ever heard of him? Rest assured, when Republicans retake Congress, the Biden corruption will be investigated and exposed by Congress. Direct TV, boycott it if they terminate this incredible group of people, because they really get the word out and they get the truth out. And you can't be terminating. They have enough problems with this country without terminating the truth. More Americans died of COVID on Biden's watch than in all of 2020. At least 16 Democrat-run cities saw record high numbers of murders and drug abuse and every other form of crime. We appointed almost 300 judges to interpret the laws of the Constitution as written, including 3 Supreme Court justices. So this is what we have. We have an incompetent government that was elected through a rigged election, and they don't know what the hell they're doing. So to every patriot here today, I ask you to get ready to work, to get ready to fight, and to get ready to win and win like never before.
Wasn't that a good rally? Isn't it refreshing to see somebody his age with clear eyes, energy, can put a sentence together? It really is refreshing. But there's two things I want to talk about. The first is these investigations from these political hacks in New York, Atlanta, and I think Washington. The first is Letitia James. She is investigating Trump for apparently not valuing his company accurately. What attorney general ever investigated this type of thing unless somebody was harmed? Now, there was no one going to James and saying, oh, my God, I loaned Trump all this money and he defaulted and we think he lied on everything because we're trying to get the money back and this and that. That didn't happen. All it is a witch hunt by James. She's a political hack, likely backed by Soros, and she's using her position as a weapon, and she is criminalizing politics. Now, what she's claiming is that, Trump didn't value certain properties, didn't value a golf course, and this is all accounting stuff. And I find it hard to believe there'll be any attorney or anybody that would support valuating a company that could be helpful in this, because they're probably getting second-rate accountants to make their case. All the best accountants are working for the people like Trump. I mean, the one that really gets me is that they're claiming that he valued a piece of or an apartment at $25 million, and he was renting it to his daughter Ivanka, who had an option at I think $8.5 million. Well, guess what? That's standard practice. There's nothing illegal there. A lot of people get into options. Okay, here's your option. It may be worth $25 million one day. When did she sign the document? Was it 10 years ago when real estate values were lower than they are today? And if there's not an arm's length if it's not an arm's length transaction, that's an IRS issue. That's not criminal. So this is a witch hunt. And here's their game plan. They're just trying to keep this hanging over Trump's head for the next few years because they think it's going to hurt him politically. And it's not. All right, let's take a look down in Atlanta. The Atlanta District Attorney, Fari Willis, probably another hack, probably another Soros-backed district attorney. She's looking at whether there's any criminality in Trump trying to protect his rights as president to have a second look at the election in Georgia. Now, they're trying to use this phone call that he talked to when he talked to the Secretary of State, Raffensperger, saying, I need you to find, 11,000, 17,000 votes. That's not criminal. So what Atlanta did, what Farris did, she's calling a special grand jury. And what a special grand jury is, it's almost like a regular grand jury. And instead of coming back with a decision to indict or not, they just come back to a report. They can't indict. They can't start any criminal proceedings. But what they can do, or what the district attorney can do, is take the information on that report and use it as an indictment. And again, I think that this is all political. From what I hear is they're going to have the convene a special grand jury in May, so they say. And just expect this thing to be dragged out over the next few years. And it's all political. And it's all an attempt to criminalize politics, where the real criminals are the ones that are the district attorneys. And that's what's scary. And again, remember, if they can do it to him, they can do it to anyone. And then there's a third case. I think it has to do with the Capitol riots, or whatever you want to call it. I think it has to do with whether they're going to indict Trump for causing the riots or whatever. It's just so vague. Again, it's just criminalizing politics. All right, let's take a break. We'll be back. Okay, hi. Welcome back to High Cheese with Darren Maloney. I just wanted to clear something up regarding Atlanta. So I just wanted to let you know that it is quite possible to take information from a special grand jury and use that information for a regular grand jury. But again, it's up to the prosecutor. The next thing I wanted to do, I wanted to switch to the people in the D.C. jail from January 6th. Trump had mentioned something on Saturday that he may consider a pardon for some of these people, and it caused all gnashing of teeth in the mainstream media. Oh, this is scary. This is terrible. How could he say that? Well, where is the due process for these people? With these people sitting and the way they are being treated, according to reports, do you think in normal times the judicial system and a judge would accept this? I don't think so. And Trump is talking from a position of being fair. Why are these people in jail? If they're charged, if they're fully charged, let them out. Because at what point do they become being interred? So if they're not fully charge them and give them due process. If not, what are we talking about? Maybe it is a DC gulag. Now, this Washington jail system has a horrendous reputation. We've already seen that the assistant warden is an anti-Trumper. She's already been out and posted on Facebook or wherever she posts. Blank Donald Trump and his supporters. Now, is she going to be really kind to the people in January 6th that are in the jail there? I don't think so. But it is concerning. It should be concerning to every American. And where's the ACLU? Now, let me just give you a little story. I worked with somebody that was involved with the DC jail system, and he had told me an interesting story. And again, this DC jail is extremely political. It's run like a gulag, for lack of a better word. So anyway, make a long story short, this gentleman that I worked with, that worked in the jail system, he had told me a story about G. Gordon Liddy. Now, for those of you who don't know, G. Gordon Liddy was the mastermind of Watergate, and he went to jail for a number of years. But that's not the point. The point is people in the D.C. jail at the time when Liddy was arrested, apparently he spent some time in either a holding cell or some type of cell. So word came down is that they have to soften Liddy up. And what they did is they put Liddy in a holding cell with some extremely bad guys. Now, I'm not even sure if it was a legitimate holding cell. They may have just put him in a cell with some bad guys to soften him up. And what they did is they let Liddy wear his watch, and I think he had a small amount of jewelry on him. And they let him wear his watch, and they let him have his jewelry, and they put him in with those inmates. And they thought those inmates were going to just abuse him, take his watch, take anything else from him. Well, it didn't work out that way because Liddy beat the hell out of everybody in that jail cell. So that should give you a little perspective on the history of the DC jail system. Remarkable. Okay. Canadian truckers. Now, I told you last week that this could be a big story, and it's turning into be a big story. Apparently, just in a nutshell, is that the Canadians, and particularly Canadian truckers, are fed up with their onerous policy up there regarding vaccines, mandates, and truckers had enough of it. There was a heavy-handed mandate that came down from the federal government in Canada that said that if you weren't vaccinated and you crossed the U.S. border, you had to come back and you had to quarantine for 14 days. Now, on the U.S. side, they said that, well, Canadian trucks had to be double dosed. So they just had enough of it. A caravan started on the West Coast, and they've made their way toward Ottawa on the East Coast, which is the capital of Canada. Now, this thing got big, and it got very big. And a caravan or a convoy of trucks nearly 45 miles long was created, going from the West Coast to the East Coast. And that's not even including the truck routes coming from Quebec, Northern Ontario. They made their way to voice their concerns. Now, Prime Minister Trudeau, he may be left of Biden. He calls them a fringe element of society. So anyway, make a long story short, he goes into hiding. Now he claims he was around somebody with COVID, and he goes into hiding. Now it was reported earlier today that he has COVID. Nevertheless, he's still hiding. Now I just can't imagine Donald Trump hiding. Now put this in contrast with Trump. Remember, I think it was Lafayette Park. There was a riot in Lafayette Park, and it was cleared out. And Trump came out and made his tour with his Bible around Lafayette Park. Now that's a leader. Trudeau hides. I guess he didn't want to go to school that day. Now today he comes out. He said, "Oh, I would support this fringe group, but I don't believe in them. I do believe in BLM. I would march with BLM, but I'm not going to march with the truckers." Let me just give you a couple of clips.
That's true. The Canadian truckers, you've been reading about it, who are resisting bravely these lawless mandates, are doing more to defend American freedom than our own leaders by far. And we want those great Canadian truckers to know that we are with them all the way. They are. They've really shown something.
They have done it. They really did it. And this is not even 1% of the truckers who have come here. This is only a couple of them. Majority of them are in a town an hour away from here. The plan was for them to come tomorrow morning, but they have already come here now. It's crazy. We see a whoa. There are thousands of people just outside Ottawa right now. This is a very small.
Now, that last clip was from a report from Saturday morning, and they are still there. And this is having some effect. And the Saskatchewan Premier came out I think yesterday. A premier is the equivalent of a governor here in the United States. But it says here in the headline, it says Saskatchewan Premier offers support to Canadian truckers, promises to end COVID passports. Let's see, his name is Scott Moe, has said he will soon end the province's vaccine stamp passport. Okay, this is a quote from Scott Moe, the Premier. "My government supports your call to end cross-border ban on unvaccinated truckers, and it is why, in the not-too-distant future, our government will be ending our proof of negative test proof of vaccination policy in Saskatchewan." And that's good. Now, there's also reports that the borders are being blocked by truckers up in the Midwest and the West up in Canada. But I want to give you two more clips. And this is the lying that goes on, even up there. There's two clips I'm going to give you. One is from a CBC news anchor. Her name is Neil Coxell, and she makes wild allegations. You talk about conspiracy theories. This is a news anchor for CBC. And I want you to take and we'll get back to the comment, the response from the bureaucrat she's talking about. But let me play this for you.
Canada's support of Ukraine in this current crisis with Russia. I don't know if it's far-fetched to ask, but there is concern that Russian actors could be continuing to fuel things as this protest grows, but perhaps even instigating it from the outset.
Well, again, I'm going to defer to our partners in the public safety, the trained officials and experts in that area.
Can you believe that? Now, that's a news anchor up there. They're implying that this is a Russian operation. That's what she's saying. This is a Russian operation. And the person she's talking to is Canada's Minister of Public Safety. And he just said, I'm going to defer to the local people. Now, if this was legitimate, and I think this was a setup, he just didn't say anything. I'm going to defer. He didn't say, that's nonsense. Where's your evidence? No, he just says, no, I'm going to defer. And the entire implication is that, maybe it is a Russian operation. I'm going to show you another clip from MSNBC.
Dozens of trucks and other vehicles could be seen blocking the downtown area of Ottawa as protesters rallied against vaccine mandates, masks, and lockdowns.
That seems like an interesting way to spend your weekend.
The demonstrations were initially aimed at pushback against vaccine mandates for truck drivers crossing the U.S.-Canada border. But the movement escalated into an expression of disapproval with the Canadian government's COVID-19 policies. Officials say several investigations are underway into reports of severe vandalism and criminal behavior, including the desecration of national monuments. Meanwhile, Ottawa Mayor Jim Watson said some protesters harassed a soup kitchen, demanding free meals because their refusal to wear masks meant they were not to order in restaurants.
Well, that was Mika and Joe shilling for the Canadian Communists. Now, just a couple of items. The desecration of statues that they were talking about. Well, I took a look at the one statue, and the one statue had the gentleman holding a Canadian flag, an upside-down Canadian flag. He was wearing a Canadian hat, and he was holding a sign that said, "No more mandates." And that was taken down and cleaned up by truckers, believe it or not. So we don't know who did that, but that's certainly not a desecration. And then you got this bizarre story by the mayor saying the soup kitchen was, they were intimidated by the truckers and the protesters. Well, let me tell you something. Then those truckers have enough food for months. They don't need food from a soup kitchen. So that's just a bizarre story. And all these other stories about, there's all this violence. And there was another gentleman on said that somebody took down a gay flag. And, this is just a psyop going on up there. And again, this Canadian government under Trudeau is just extremely scary. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you another clip. It's in French. Well, it's in French and English, and I think there's some French curse words, and I'll try to get them out. But apparently, a caravan from Saint Jerome in Quebec to Ottawa kept on being delayed because somebody was throwing these big nails on the roads to stop them. Now, I've got the video. You can see in the background all these trucks just being held up, and these nice people just moving ahead and cleaning up all these nails. But this is what they're doing. Now, again, there's rumors that Antifa is up there, and who knows who threw these nails on the road. But but let me just play you a clip.
Okay, guys, this is a convoy from Saint Jerome to Ottawa, and they're putting nails now on the ground, so we can't get through. Show me the nails. Look at this, buddy. Show me the nails. Montrez-moi les clous, les gars. Montrez-moi les clous. Checkez tous les clous qu'ils mettent à taille.
Well, we don't know how this is going to end. The truckers are still there. Their intentions are to stay there as long as possible. And I'm just getting reports right now that the police are preventing the trucks from entering into the city. I don't know if it's true, but let's go to another break.
crazy. I also want to say a brief word about the atrocities this week in the Houston area where 3 brave police officers were brutally shot in the line of duty on Thursday. A Harris County officer was murdered by an illegal alien in a traffic stop on Sunday. Illegal alien, where did he come from? And another officer was also horribly killed. And I just want to pay my respects. The Houston police and law enforcement has treated us with such incredible dignity and respect. And they're incredible people, and I want to thank them. And if they want to stand up, but the Houston police have been incredible.
Well, doesn't Donald Trump love cops? And you know who doesn't love cops? The NFL and Roger Goodell. They just announced last week that Snoop, cop-hating Snoop, was going to be part of the halftime show. Good old Snoop. Remember Snoop, who did a video where he shot Trump in the head? Let me read a couple of lyrics that he has on one of his songs. Take your guns that you use to shoot each other and start shooting police. Well, that's nice. Isn't that a nice message? That's a nice message for halftime. I just don't understand how the owners can put up with this. If any of the owners have cops in their family or like police or like their security force, how can they support this guy being in a halftime show? Now, what Snoop will say, oh, it's just artistic latitude I have with this. Oh, he's full of it. He's absolutely full of it. Deep down, you know he hates cops. He wouldn't sing about killing cops if he didn't hate cops. He doesn't like Trump. He wouldn't do a video with shooting Trump in the head if he didn't like Trump. I'm going to cut to another video real quick. It's about this actress, another artist that is complaining about the police that showed up for the funeral of the patrolman that was recently killed. And let me play it. We'll get back to you.
Do not need to shut down most of lower Manhattan because one cop died for probably doing his job incorrectly. They kill people who are under 22 every single day for no good reason, and we don't shut down the city for them. So, like, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. What if somebody's having a heart attack in this area? Nobody can get to them because it's all blocked off for one cop.
What ugly language. The good news is that she was fired from her acting company for what it's worth. What is it with actors and actresses? They hate cops. They hate you. They hate me. I just chalk it up to these are really ignorant people, like extremely ignorant people. I don't think anything beyond their trade they have an understanding of. And you don't need an understanding of the world to do what they do. And I think that's part of it. And then you got your self-centered, you throw some self-centeredness into this, and you just have really terrible attitude regarding cops. Not all of them, but I would say most of them. And it's just very disappointing. But speaking of actors and actresses, artists, let's see. We've got Neil Young has got some company. We've got Joni Mitchell and Nils Lofgren saying that they're going to leave Spotify because of Joe Rogan. Now, look, I understand that Joe Rogan came out with some statement today about he's sorry if you take what he says or what he does the wrong way, but he has an excellent show and people should watch it. So, who's the next artist that's going to leave Spotify that has absolutely no impact on my life? Will it be Milli Vanilli? Flock of Seagulls? Well, I'm kind of hoping for Madonna. Let's hope one of them leaves. With all of this misinformation coming out from the federal government regarding the COVID response policy, they're giving a new meaning to political science. I don't know if you remember in high school, you took courses in political science. We've got a completely different meaning of political science today. We've got scientists who are politicians. And let's talk about monoclonal antibodies and the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis. Now, the FDA just came out, said that there were two, like arbitrarily, bang, out of nowhere, telling everybody that two of the monoclonal antibodies that the Florida governor has touted and used is not going to be used anymore. The FDA claims that they're not effective against the Omicron virus. The FDA says that there is a study out there that says this, but I haven't seen one, and I'm not sure the Florida governor has seen one. So let's go to a videotape, and then we'll get back and discuss.
It was a rash decision. This was not something that we got any real advance notice for.
The governor made his case at Miami-Dade North, right next to the state monoclonal distribution site, shut down when the FDA pulled authorization for 2 monoclonals, suggesting they are ineffective against Omicron.
We know definitively this stuff is great against the Delta variant. And so why would you take that out of play?
This couple with COVID among those who lost their appointments.
We have this study on cells that suggests maybe it might be less effective on Omicron, these particular monoclonals. But then we have real world experience in humans where we see really excellent outcomes.
The case made here today that patients aren't tested for variants, so why take away an option? Also with the governor, Mount Sinai Medical Center's director of emergency medicine. He's doing studies and is on the COVID task force.
I think the FDA was a premature decision to remove it, and I hope that the FDA will revert the decision.
We asked the governor why not keep the state monoclonal distribution sites open to offer the other authorized treatments.
If they would replace the Regeneron and the Eli Lilly with Sotrovimab, we would absolutely keep the sites open 100%. But I can't have people come up and then not have the medication available for them. And they're just not giving us nearly enough.
I think why they're doing this is because a cornerstone of DeSantis's policy are these monoclonals. And he's been getting good results if you take a look at the statistics, the science. And the Biden administration doesn't like it. So what they did is they cut it out and they used some kind of study. Not a study that our friend Anthony Fauci would accept. And here's the thing I found out about Fauci. And I always had my suspicions about him. And I'm reading RFK Jr.'s book. If Fauci doesn't like something, he'll say, well, there's no double-blind study to make sure that this thing is good. But if he likes something, he just looks the other way. And this is probably one of those cases. Probably some low-level study or something that was thrown together at the last moment. And they're going to use this as a hook to get rid of the monoclonals, just to hurt DeSantis. That's politics. That's political science today. And, here's the funny thing, too, is that DeSantis mentioned Sotrovimab. And that's the third one, apparently, that they're going to accept. And I'm just looking at U.S. Department of Health and Human Services website. And this is from December 17th when they started distributing Sotrovimab to the states. And it's funny is that Florida is the third most populated state in the country. But they only got 1,050 doses versus California that got 2,600, got New York, which is fourth. New York is fourth behind Florida, but they got 4,200. And then we look at Texas, and Texas got 2,600. And I'm just looking at the proportions here from the top 4 populated states. And I want to know why Florida is so low. Now, the political scientists are going to come back and say, we use this, we use that, we use this variable, that variable. And it just so happened that Florida just came up with a very low amount relative to its population. And we know that's BS. And we know why they're doing it. And this is why I'm calling it political science from now on. Being that we've got an underlying theme of weak elected officials, Justin Trudeau, I just want to leave you with an observation I had last week at one of Biden's press conference when he had called Peter Doocy from Fox News a stupid SOB, something along those lines. And I just looked at Biden and I said, look, this is what a weak guy does. A weak guy will make a snide remark to a young kid while he's leaving the room. And a guy like Biden thinks he's a tough guy when he does something like that. And he's just a weak guy. And he's just showing his weakness by doing something like that. He doesn't have the guts to say it to him face to face or call him out on it. And what really gets me is that a couple days later, there was an article in Politico. I think it was by John Harris. And they're viewing this as a great thing. They're viewing this as toughness, which tells you a lot about John Harris. And it tells you a lot about the people at Politico. And the title of the article was, How Trash Talk Can Save Biden's Presidency. And then he goes on, let me just quote him. He says, as it happens, Biden's lapse of decorum hints at a path toward restoring presidential vitality. And then he goes on to Biden's history of saying the big effing deal when Obamacare was signed. Another time when he challenged the voter to push-ups during the campaign, which is all ridiculous. But I guess my other point is the press thinks this is tough. Now, if the press thinks this is tough, you can see how out of touch they are, and just how they have no sense of character. But again, it's all misguided by a group of people in the media that really don't know what character is, don't know what toughness is, and doesn't know what it means to be a leader. Okay, let's finish up with stocks. Let's see. Today's Monday night, so Monday the Dow finished up 1.71%. Year and month to date, it's negative 3.32%. The S&P finished up 1.89% today. And for the month and year to date, it's down 5.26. And then we have NASDAQ. NASDAQ was up 3.41% today. And for the year and for the month, it's down 8.98%. Oil is at 88.37. Gold was unchanged. And silver was up 0.3%. Bitcoin was up 2.24%. And XRP was up 3.3%. On the crypto front, China came out and said that it was going to do some studies on blockchain in some of its cities. Now, blockchain isn't necessarily all about cryptocurrency. There are other uses of blockchain, to blockchain other than crypto. At some other episode, I'll get into that. I don't know how much this is going to have anything or any effect on Bitcoin or crypto, because China had banned crypto mining last year, as well as, I think, trading crypto. So anyway, make a long story short, on earnings this week, on Tuesday, we've got Google, Exxon, PayPal, UPS, and General Motors. On Wednesday, there's Meta, Facebook, Novartis. On Thursday, Amazon, Eli Lilly, Merck, Shell, those are the big names for Thursday. And then on Friday, there is Regeneron and Bristol Myers. And let's take a look at the economic calendar for the week. Tuesday, February 1st, which is tomorrow, we've got the ISM Manufacturing Index, job openings, quit jobs, and construction spending. On Wednesday, February 2nd, we have the ADP unemployment report and the home ownership rate. On Thursday, we have initial jobless claims and continuing jobless claims. We have productivity, unit labor costs, factory orders, as well as core capital equipment orders. And then on Friday, we've got non-farm payrolls, which is the number everybody's looking at this week. I guess they're looking at 150,000. Unemployment rate, they're estimating 3.9. And average hourly earnings month to month, they're looking at 0.5%. And then finally, the labor force participation rate. And that is it for today. And I hope everybody has a nice week. And thanks for joining me. And I shall see you on Friday or Saturday. So just be on the lookout. And again, everybody have a good week. See you soon.